A while back, we found out that Donald Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor, Jared Kushner, had a meeting with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak during Donald Trump's transition period. And then a couple weeks ago, we discovered that Kushner also had another meeting with Russian National Bank official Sergei Gorkov, which had previously been undisclosed. The White House was covering it up, and we did a segment on that. The picture is getting even worse now in terms of Jared Kushner's connections to Russia and his total lack of transparency about it. We've now learned that Jared Kushner has actually been hiding dozens of other meetings with Russia. In fact, he even chose not to report them when he was applying for top secret security clearance at the White House, when he began working for Donald Trump, which is sort of in and of itself bordering on breaking anti-nepotism laws, but that's sort of another story. He's not a blood relative of Donald Trump. Kushner's lawyer is saying that he didn't reveal the meetings because he forgot about them. There are some really forgetful people who are doing work or were doing work for Donald Trump, and their difficulty to remember has focused around meetings they had with Russians, hasn't it?
Yeah, maybe these Russian officials and oligarchs are just incredibly boring. Because if you remember Michael Flynn, Trump's disgraced former national security advisor, right, he forgot whether or not he had discussed sanctions with Sergei Kislyak.
Yeah, and then Jeff Sessions forgot about the meetings altogether and then remembered them, but not all of them, nor what was discussed inside. As far as Kushner's concerned, when you apply for top-level security clearance with the federal government, this is a credential that gives you access to the country's most sensitive, important, classified information. You're required to disclose all encounters you've had with foreign government officials over the prior 7 years. It's a pretty reasonable rule. Kushner concealed dozens of meetings, including other meetings with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, Russian oligarch Sergei Gorkov. It's clear why Kushner wouldn't want the public to know about those meetings, but when you tell the government about meetings you've had in order to get a security clearance, the public isn't necessarily going to find out. In this case, we did, so maybe Kushner was onto something, but there clearly are reasons that he didn't even want the intelligence community to know about these meetings. Your answers on the SF-86 form, that's what you fill out to get a federal security clearance, they're completely confidential. They're not public record. They're not even accessible through Freedom of Information Act requests. And on a legal level, Kushner should lose his security clearance for lying about these meetings and maybe even face penalties. But in terms of the ethics and the optics, once again, lying about contact with Russia, Donald Trump should dismiss Kushner from the White House altogether, since we now know that we have a top-level advisor lying about dozens of meetings with a foreign adversary in order to get access to U.S. secret information. Will never happen, though, right? I mean, Kushner, he's a golden boy in this administration.
Yeah, because he's not only Trump's advisor, he's also his own son-in-law, and it's hard to kick out your own family.
You can lose a security clearance for a lot less. And in how many legal domains would the explanation of, I forgot, excuse the lies? You're pulled over by a cop for speeding and you say, forgot about the speed limit. Oh, you forgot. Oh, okay.
Right.
You're audited by the IRS. You say, I just totally forgot to pay taxes on $100,000 worth of income. Although actually sometimes with the IRS, if you convince them that you weren't acting maliciously, you just have to make up the missed tax. Maybe that's not the best example, but the speeding one I think is a solid one.
Because by saying you forgot, that kind of allows you to get out of the situation without lying, because those are your only two options at that point.
Let alone the fact that Jared Kushner should not even be in the picture for getting a top secret security clearance in the first place. But the big picture is it continues. Before any scandal gets its due attention from the public, it's overshadowed by the next scandal. The public can't keep up with it all, and thus we are unable to fully react to what would be alone major scandals during other presidencies. The Senate Intelligence Committee is going to be questioning Jared Kushner about the meetings in an upcoming hearing, but you know, at this point, the way things are going, who knows if that will even make news. We'll be covering it, but I don't know if it will make news.